Joining us now on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline as we switch gears to BYU basketball once again is assistant coach Lee Cummard, who is on the road again. Lee, welcome back to the show.
What's up, Lee?
What's going on, boys? How's it going?
Not too bad. Hey, you took some trash about your first tweet on Twitter, man.
Hey, you're on Twitter, though. That's great.
I am there, and yes, I did take some heat. A few of the guys, a few of the boys on the team, let me know that I got to set my game up.
Well, you've tweeted twice, which is better than Quincy, so you have that going for it.
That is true.
You have a ways to catch up to Tim Lacombe.
Yeah, no, Tim's a big Twitter guy, and I'm going to learn from him and easily surpass him eventually, but not yet.
Well, Lee, as we learned from your first Twitter post, you're out on your first evaluation period, and you're going to go do some recruiting. What's on the agenda? Where do your travels take you right now?
Well, right now I'm in beautiful Southern California, and there are 3 tournaments that I'll be attending this weekend. There's a Pangos event that starts tomorrow, and then there's a double pump tourney starts today, and there's also a West Coast Elite tournament that starts today. And so I'm going to spend most of my day today at the pump and West Coast Elite, Pangos tomorrow, and then West Coast Elite tomorrow, and then Pangos on Saturday.
Okay, it's busy, but probably good weather, which is good news. There was an article that came out that from Dick Harmon, Deseret News, that talked about international recruiting in Europe and how you are going to be in Latvia and Macedonia at the end of the month. So I know BYU's recruited internationally in the past, but I guess what role does perhaps Europe play in the future recruiting of BYU basketball right now?
I think we're just going to, wait and see. It's not, and I said this to Dick, that it's not really about getting just an international player, but trying to find an international player that can really, help the program. There's a lot of international guys in college basketball right now, and a lot of them don't really move the needle for the programs. So that's going to be the key. There are some other hurdles that have to be overcome and things that we got to be on the lookout for. But we're going to see, I'm going to do the legwork for the most part, but everyone will be involved. And I'm excited to go back over there and see what the talent's like, especially after going 3 straight weekends here as far as the talent and just kind of comparing and seeing what's available.
You mentioned some of those hurdles. Obviously, there's some inherent hurdles that BYU wants to take on, like, the honor code and high academics and whatnot. But there was a report of a Russian player trying to get it. The TOEFL is an English test. I guess what role does that play when you recruit an international athlete? They got to speak English well enough, right?
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure. The grades and the honor code thing are for sure a hurdle, but that's for anybody, stateside or a European. But just the distance, can a kid, leave his home country and come over and enjoy his time enough that he can produce, that's a hurdle. You got the whole, they grow up playing in clubs and some of them get paid and you kind of have to overcome or find a kid that hasn't been paid too much. So all those things are hurdles. And then also a kid that wants to move to Provo, Utah, Probably never heard of it, but that's also a hurdle.
You should pull a Carl McGowan, the deceased men's volleyball legendary coach. He once told the Australians, he goes, "Oh, you think the beaches that are in Australia are nice? You should see Utah Lake. I mean, it is incredible."
Yeah.
You got a couple of guys
that way. But there's some beautiful, especially on the Mediterranean, the Adriatic Sea. Those beaches are pretty nice.
Lee Cummard with us on BYU Sports Nation, assistant basketball coach for the Cougars, out on a recruiting trip in Southern California right now, is going to be headed across the pond to international grounds to look for perhaps the next great European star for BYU. Now, with that in mind, Lee, how many players at any given time do you have specifically targeted, let's say, in the Europe area?
Ooh, that will greatly increase after my time over there, and just seeing potential fits. right now, I would say there's a few handfuls that we're kind of looking at, more specifically certain teams where there's a connection. But after the trip, and I'm 2 months into this thing, and so daily the list is getting bigger. But BYU is unique as far as the amount of kids that we're looking at. The pool's a little bit smaller than your average college, and so it'll probably be the same for Europe.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, in the Latvia First Ward, if, like the Elders Quorum president is emailing you about this kid on what are the means of finding potential European prospects?
Well, part of it is that I actually have a guy that just emailed this week that has connections in Portugal, that lives over there, that in his mind, he wants to bring a Portuguese kid over, have him play at BYU, and then go play pro in Portugal. He talks of the glory days of Kevin Nixon over there winning championships in that league. But that's part of it. But part of it is, there's recruiting services. There's also going out and seeing them. There's, the ties that I have, but also some of the other coaches with coaches over there and how good they are. Just a guy I played with for 2 seasons in Belgium. He is actually coaching in China now. He's reached out to me about a kid from China that has played high school ball in the States, but also a couple kids from Belgium that he was training. So it just kind of works that way, and you got to do the due diligence and find out, can they fit? Do they have the grades? Are they good enough to really contribute? And then go from there. Same thing with the kid in the States.
We're talking with BYU basketball assistant coach Lee Cummard on BYU Sports Nation. Let's say you find the guy that you want, whether it's in Portugal or Macedonia or Germany, wherever. You agree to terms. He wants to come to BYU. You're excited about him. Walk us through a quick timeline of the steps that you have to go through in order to get that guy into BYU and playing for the Cougars.
Okay, so let's say we like a kid. Transcripts will come involved. Usually they have to be translated, right? So if they're in...
That's an LDS thing we all want, Lee.
Or what's that?
We're all... the LDS group wants to be translated as well, bro.
Exactly. So their transcripts got to be translated, then they're sent over, and they go through the same process as an American kid. We talk to the coaches, we do the legwork, we find out, can this kid fit, with the honor code, with the uniqueness of a BYU, and then you recruit him. Oh, has he been paid? Is he still an amateur? What's that status? And then you start recruiting them just like an American kid. Hey, we want you. We see you fitting our system, fitting with Coach. Coach really likes you. He's watched you play a handful of times. What are your thoughts? Here's a scholarship offer if you want it, and going from there.
And you're just confirming what I mostly already knew, but that is, it's an extensive process, and I think that it's important for fans across BYU Sports Nation to know exactly what goes into that. It is a lengthy process.
Yeah, and the distance adds time, right? The time change. You email one day and then you don't get a response till the next day, kind of thing. Most days. So yeah, it is a little bit longer. But once you figure out that they can fit and the grades and transcripts work, it's very similar to an American kid.
Lee, it's great to talk to you. Go ahead. Continue.
The fit part is where it is. Is where most of it stops, right? Have they come up in the clubs and had not a pro contract, but a kind of a pro contract kind of thing. So that's kind of the kicker. You got to find a kid that hasn't been paid yet.
Great stuff, Lee. We know you're a busy man in Southern California. In the meantime, we'll research all of the hot spots for you in Macedonia. Get back to you on that. And we wish you an enjoyable trip in SoCal.
Appreciate it, guys. Go Cougs.
You got it, man. Go Cougs. Lee Cummard on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future.